Hi, this is Jen Bentley, Dairy Field Specialist with Iowa State University Extension and Outreach, welcoming you to Part 3 of our Beginning Dairy Farmer video series featuring the Wiedemeyer Dairy and their grazing dairy with one of the best low-cost trans-Iowa parlors in Iowa. Beginning farmers have various dairy system options as they begin their careers, and the Wiedemeyers pick their system because of reduced cost, facilities, and labor efficiency, and felt they could best profit from dairy this way. So let's listen as Scott Wiedemeyer shares his thoughts on their operation now.
Hi, I'm Scott Wiedemeyer. I'm from Maynard, Iowa. We live on a dairy farm that has between 140 and 175 milk cows. We have Holsteins and Brown Swiss and Holstein Swiss crosses. We're on a rotational grazing system. We have 124 acres of pasture, and we rotate on a daily, twice daily moves for our dairy cows, and our heifers are every day, once a day. We have 710 acres of crop ground that we use to feed all our cows, and as of right now we're a self-sustainable system. We don't rely on anybody else for outside inputs as far as corn or grain or protein sources. And I farm with my folks, Gary and Becky Wiedemeyer, and our family. We chose rotational grazing to reduce labor and also reduce upfront costs to start out milking cows for myself coming back from college, reduce capital cost. And we've been doing this for 13 years now, and it seems to be a system that works well for us. It allowed us to increase our herd numbers dramatically and still maintain a low overhead cost with facilities and equipment. Most of the year the system works pretty well. The only time we really have any trouble is in the spring when we start to have continuous rainfalls, and some of our lanes don't extend out far enough with covered surfaces, and the last half of most of our lanes are just dirt lanes. So we run into trouble there, or some issues there, and most of that is just rearranging your grazing schedule to keep the cows on hard surfaces. The other issue we run into is heat and humidity in the summer, and that's managed by, in the middle of the day when the cows decide that they're done grazing, we don't make them stand out in the pasture all day. We'll go get them in and turn the sprinklers on in the barn and turn the fans on, get those cows cooled down, and then we'll also milk about a half hour early in the evening to get them back out and maximize their forage intake from the pasture. A couple of keys to our success here at Grassway Farm are our labor efficiency, trying to emphasize labor efficiency no matter where you're at, whether it's in the field doing field work or moving cows, milking cows in our Swing 15 parlor. That's a huge key for us to keep our labor down and do as much as we can with our labor as possible. Intense focus on forage quality. We try to make the best and most quality and quantity together as we can. We look at really strongly at labor efficiencies, trying to get the most done with the least amount of labor. We do a lot of our own maintaining and equipment repairs. A lot of our equipment is in the 80s, early 90s era, so a lot of that is easily fixable. The last one would be innovative thinking, trying not to get stuck in a rut. We always ask ourselves, why is this done this way, or how can we be doing it different and more efficient? A lot of that thinking has led to some pretty big breakthroughs in either labor efficiency or functioning of the farm, and that's been a huge asset for us. We determine profitability by using a program called Dairy Trans, and we also look at our monthly cash flow planning that we do at the beginning of the year to make sure that we're on track. The Dairy Trans allows us to compare to other dairies and to see how we're doing in relative to other dairies. One other thing that we do is we look at milk production per farm instead of per cow. Because we're self-sustainable, we need to look at that as far as grain sales and milk production to see how much we're actually spending or what it's costing us to produce milk on a per acre basis, and our total profitability on a per acre basis, whether it's through milk or grain sales. The advice that I would have for a young producer wanting to follow a similar management system as that we have here today with rotational grazing would be to go find a mentor or two to talk to them how they set their farm up. The biggest one would be the mentor. Try to find someone or a group or organization to become part of that would allow you to think about ideas, exchange ideas back and forth. Identify cows that fit what you want to do. Not all cows are functional in this system. You're always trying to figure out what the next thing is that you need to do or change to stay ahead of the curve, to stay in the business or excel in what you're doing.